My name is Matt. I'm 32 years old, and I've been living in this quiet little neighborhood just outside of town for about 5 years now. It's one of those places where everyone knows each other, and nothing ever really happens. Halloween is usually a simple affair around here. Kids trick-or-treating, people decorating their homes, and the occasional rowdy teenager causing harmless trouble. This year, I decided to stay in and hand out candy instead of going out. It was around 9 p.m., and the night was winding down. Most of the kids had already come and gone, and the street was starting to empty out. I was sitting on my couch, scrolling through my phone, when I heard a knock at the door. I figured it was just one last trick-or-treater before the night ended, so I grabbed the candy bowl and made my way to the door. When I opened it, there was a kid standing there in a clown costume. Nothing unusual, right? Except something felt off. The kid didn't say anything, didn't yell trick or treat like all the others. He just stood there, holding out his bag, staring at me through the mask. I felt this weird, uncomfortable tension in the air, but I brushed it off. I dropped a handful of candy into his bag, thinking he'd leave after that. But he didn't. He just stood there, not moving, not speaking. For what felt like forever, we were just staring at each other. I could feel my heart start to race. Something wasn't right. I cleared my throat, trying to shake off the growing unease, and asked him, "You okay, buddy?" Then, out of nowhere, he reached up and pulled off his mask. Underneath was a boy, no older than 12 or 13, with the most terrified look I've ever seen on someone's face. His eyes were wide, and his skin was pale, like he'd seen something awful. He leaned in a little closer and whispered, "Help me." Before I could react, he turned and ran off, disappearing into the night. I stood there, frozen, my mind racing with questions. What the hell had just happened? Was this some kind of sick prank? I stepped outside, looked around the street, but there was no sign of him. It was like he vanished into thin air. I didn't sleep well that night. Something about that kid's face kept haunting me. The fear in his eyes. The way he just ran off without any explanation. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of police knocking on my door. They were going around the neighborhood, asking questions. Apparently, a boy had gone missing the night before. The officer showed me a photo, and my stomach dropped. It was the same boy who had been at my door. Same face, same terrified expression. I told the officer about what happened, but what he said next made my blood run cold. The boy had been found. His body was discovered in the woods just outside of town, but he had been dead for hours before I'd even seen him. I couldn't wrap my head around it. How could I have spoken to him if he'd already been dead? Was I imagining things? Was it some kind of sick joke? But no matter how much I tried to convince myself otherwise, I knew what I saw. It's been a few weeks now, and I still can't shake the feeling that something's watching me. Every night, I hear strange knocks at my door, but when I open it, no one's there. I haven't told anyone, not even the police, because who would believe me? But I know what I saw, and I can't stop thinking about that boy's terrified whisper. Help me. Maybe he's still out there, or maybe something else is. My name is Brian. I'm 30 years old, and I've always been the quiet type. Crowds, loud music, and parties just aren't my thing. But my friends, well, they're the opposite. They managed to convince me to go to this big Halloween street festival in town. "Come on, Brian, it'll be fun," they said. I wasn't excited about it, but I didn't want to be the killjoy, so I went along. I didn't put much thought into my costume. I grabbed a cheap skeleton outfit from a store, just a basic black suit with white bones printed on it. Nothing fancy, but it worked. The idea was to blend in, just be another face in the sea of partygoers, and not draw any attention to myself. Little did I know, that would be the worst decision I'd ever make. The festival was packed. Music was blasting, people were dancing, drinking, and laughing. It wasn't long before I felt out of place, like I always do at these kinds of events. I was ready to leave, but my friends were having a good time, so I stuck around a bit longer. That's when things took a turn. At some point in the night, I noticed a group of people nearby staring at me. At first, I thought they were just drunk or being playful. Then, one of them pointed directly at me. Before I knew it, they were shouting something, and then they started chasing me. My heart pounded in my chest as I ran. I thought it was a joke at first, part of the Halloween fun, you know? But their faces weren't playful. They looked angry. I kept running, weaving through the crowd, but they were catching up fast. It didn't take long for me to realize they weren't messing around. They were serious. I could hear them yelling things like, "There he is, and get him!" I had no idea what was going on, but fear was taking over. I turned down an alley, hoping to lose them, but I made a mistake. I got cornered. The next thing I knew, they were on me. They didn't even hesitate. I felt the first stab, a sharp cold pain in my side, then another, and another. It happened so fast I couldn't even process it. They kept shouting things like, "You monster!" and "This is for what you did." I couldn't speak. I couldn't explain that they had the wrong guy. They thought I was someone else, someone who had done something horrible earlier at the festival. I couldn't fight back, couldn't make them stop. Eventually, they left me there, bleeding in the alley. Hours later, the real criminal, dressed exactly like me, was caught. But by then, the damage was done. I survived, but just barely. Now, I live with the scars, both physical and mental. I don't go out much anymore. I can't. Every time I see a mask or hear someone yell, my heart races. That night changed everything, all because of a simple mistake. My name is Megan. I'm 25, and I've been working at this small local grocery store for a few years now. It's a quiet job, nothing special, but I like it. Every year, the store organizes a Halloween charity event where we hand out candy to kids, and this year, I volunteered to help. I've always liked Halloween, the costumes, the excitement. It's fun. But this year, it was different. This year, Halloween became something I'll never forget. It was late, around 9:30 p.m., and most of the kids had gone home. We were starting to pack up when this man in an elaborate skeleton costume walked up to me. His costume was detailed, almost too detailed, with realistic bones, and his mask was eerily lifelike. He offered to help me clean up. At first, I thought he was just a nice guy, maybe someone who appreciated the event. Grateful for the help, I accepted. He was quiet at first, moving things around, but then he started asking me strange questions. He asked about my shift, what time I usually left work, and if I lived alone. My stomach tightened when he asked that. I tried to brush it off, laughing awkwardly, giving him vague answers, but I could feel the tension rising. He wasn't just making small talk, it was something more. His questions became personal, almost invasive, like he was trying to figure out my routine. "Do you ever stay late after closing?" he asked casually, but there was something in his voice that made my skin crawl. I didn't answer. Instead, I excused myself, saying I had to finish locking up. I smiled politely and thanked him for the help, but my hands were shaking. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very, very wrong. I quickly closed the store, locked the doors, and left earlier than usual, not even bothering to finish my shift. The whole walk home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, paranoid that he was following me. But when I got home, everything seemed fine. I convinced myself I was just overreacting. It was Halloween after all. People get weird, right? The next morning, I found out the truth. One of my coworkers, Mark, had stayed late to finish his shift. He was attacked in the store after closing, brutally murdered. The police said he never had a chance. The man in the skeleton costume had come back, but he wasn't looking for Mark. He had been targeting me. I should have been there. I should have been the one closing up. Somehow I'd gotten lucky. I escaped, but Mark wasn't so lucky. Now, every Halloween, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop wondering if he's still out there, waiting for another chance. I quit my job at the grocery store, but that doesn't matter. Every year, as Halloween creeps closer, I start looking over my shoulder again, afraid that one day, he'll come back for me.